Good morning, dear students. My name is Kaxxorova Sh. I'm a teacher of Bukhara State University, and I'm going to describe our theme. Our theme is today problem solution and analyzing the problem. And I have some questions before explaining you. I'm going to give you some questions. The first question is, what is the undesirable present? And the next, what is the desired goal? What are the obstacles to reaching the desired goal? And identify which obstacles can be eliminated, and identify which obstacles can be manual. And I am going to explain you some quotes. The first is, every problem is a gift. Without problems we wouldn't grow. It's written by Anthony Robbins, and most of the problems are because of two reasons. We act without thinking, or we keep thinking about acting. And the difficult problems in life always start off being simple. Create efforts of always start off being small. And this is written by Lao Tzu. And I have some questions. Now let's think about it. What problems do people have as a child, teenager, adolescent, adult, and aged? Now let's think about it. And the second, what are root causes of personal problems? And now let's continue our theme. What are the symptoms of the problem? Consider multiple symptoms such as health risks, risks to survival or safety, economic hardship, threat to civil or human rights, lack of choice, inconvenience, destruction of property. Who is directly affected by the problem? What do you think about it? And who is indirectly affected by the problem? What will happen if nothing is done about the problem? Will it go away, stay the same, or progressively get worse? What is the extent of the problem? Okay, now let's continue analyzing the solution. What are some of the possible solutions? What is the criteria for a satisfactory solution? Why are some solutions acceptable and others rejected? What is the ideal solution? It is practical or workable? Is it moral or ethical? Is it legal? Is it logistically feasible, or is it economically feasible? Now let's talk about who supports this solution. Professional organization, legal and medical experts, politicians, citizen grassroots groups, media, victims of the problems, or voters. And I am going to talk about types of problems. Nowadays, global problems are getting more and more essential, and I personally believe that the world as a whole currently faces several dramatic problems. Examples of these world problems include terrorism, desertification, overpopulation, deforestation, pollution, and poverty. Of all these world problems, the two that should correctly be focused on are poverty and pollution. For example, in chess, a problem is a puzzle, often for others to get an instruction or intellectual satisfaction from determining the solution. And in academic discourse, a problem is a challenge to an assumption that requires synthesis and reconciliation. It's a normal part of systematic thinking, the address of which add to or detracts from the veracity of a conclusion or idea. And problemization is employed to fix these kinds of problems. And let's talk about a good example of an optimization problem is a traveling salesperson problem. And another good example of this type of a problem is how to optimize and tune the electronic telescope arrays in Arizona so as to maintain connectivity with Voyager satellites as they begin to leave the solar system. And in rock climbing, a problem is a series of rocks. For example, for more challenging courses, a climber would seek out those rock climbing walls that require a longer reach or perhaps even a huge. And now I am going to give you some new words, and you should some words and with their definitions. First of all, write down these words. The first one is superficial, and next, to fix, repeatedly, to figure out an incident, a reason, and a likelihood, to trigger and to trace. And I'm going to give you some definitions. You should match these definitions with these words. Okay, let's take your paper and notebook and write down. The first one is not through, deep, or complete. And the next, a solution to a problem, especially one that is hastily devised or makeshift. The next, if you do something repeatedly, you do it many times. And the next, if you figure out a solution to a problem or the reason for something, you succeed in solving it or understanding it. And next, an instance of something happening, an event or occurrence, a cause, explanation or justification for an action or event. And next, the state or fact of something being likely, probability. And then an event that is the cause of a particular action, process, or situation. And the last one is if you trace the origin or development of something, you find out or describe how it started or developed. Now you have 10 minutes. You should match this definition with their words, and then we will check it. And I am going to tell about one of the anecdotes. You should read these anecdotes and write down about the problem and the cause of types. The road is so badly required that my neighbor recently has had a misfortune to get the back wheel of her car stuck in one of the enormous falls outside my gate. She wasn't only most distressed by the incident, but also had to pay for a breakdown truck to pull her car out. This is the first one. And the second, once I asked my secretary to prepare documents for the confidence. She was very responsible, so I didn't even suspect that she could fail me. But when I came to the office, nothing was ready. She said that one of our colleagues made her do his work, and he couldn't refuse him as she was an aged person. And the last one is the thing that worries me most about the world is increasing of ozone hole. There has been a dramatic increase in number of cases of skin diseases due to the damage to ozone layer. And now let's continue about solution and who opposes the solution. Same as above, and corporations and stockholders, other cities, states or countries. Now, how can you refute their arguments? What can we as individuals do to help solve the problem? And who has the jurisdiction to implement this solution? Legislature, individuals, and organizations. Now I think this theme is clear of all you, and I think if it's not understandable, you will give me some your questions and we will discuss it together.